Yeah.
Gerald Maxine. Carol Duvall's not in yet.
She was a moment ago. I don't know whether
she was, but she may have dropped off. Well, tell you what, I'm going to start recording, and people can just click back in. Just keep clicking back in. So I'm going to go ahead and start recording again.
All right.
Okay, Noel, you can go ahead, and hopefully we won't lose the call again.
All right. Okay, look, thanks everyone for coming along to this one. Once again, as you can appreciate, we've been wrestling this around for the last couple of weeks. It all started when Veynon went to Hong Kong and the banks had a concern about certain things to do with the networking component on what we're doing. So they had to come up with a solution that was either come up with a solution or it was not going to be at all out there, because they were quite adamant about not being associated with networking. It's not in their in their terms of trading on where they go. So, and when you think about it, it wasn't for networking that the Chinga would be there for them. But anyway, that's another story. So, look, the more I start to analyse it, and I've been able to digest it for a couple of weeks now, and even as today, a further penny dropped. I mean, it just, I think I must have a complete bag full of pennies, and they're just dropping possibly one at a time. But it's becoming a little bit more clearer, and some of the things that we're doing, initially it might seem a bit strange, but I want to just point this one out as well. We are now totally independent with our exchange that we'll be running, and in the exchange we're going to be able to have things like MLM companies, which I've had them ask me for. I've got the gaming companies. These would never be part of the banking structure, so the banking structure will not allow that at all to happen. So consequently, if there's anyone there not on mute, can just throw, please. And so anyway, the banking structure will not allow it. Now, just to cover how the coins are valued, remember this, that the Chingaling, and especially Veynon there, look, I've started to knock a bit on it there, and I probably had to start to think about it. But when you think about it, the volume on transactions from Chingaling will go down. It'll now become Next Level Africa, because that's where the coins will be sold, because transactions equates into value sooner or later. So with the asset account, and the banks are still behind us with this, the asset account that they're going to finish up flowing in there is going to be $20 billion that they'll finish up putting in there. But then there's what we can get in there. And as we set up the vendors out there, we'll be having a percentage of the vendor activity go in there, because the vendors are ready to set up now. I mean, we can start looking at that. Look, once we get it sorted out. Tomorrow, any time from tomorrow, we'll be able to start downloading our new wallets out there, and both exchanges will be up and running. So we will be able to use coins to put back into Next Level Africa Exchange, and from that we'll be able to exchange those coins for Chingaling coins if members want to do that. We'll also be able to list for sale on the Africa site. We'll be able to list our coins on that for sale, because there is a way we can attract investors to come in there and simply purchase coins, and probably many investors that the banks probably won't touch. So we're going to be quite unique. We are the only MLM company with its own exchange, coin exchange out there, so we'll be able to promote that, and I believe that we will certainly be able to lift the value of our coins. I mean, I've got a couple of things in place that might help with it, but as we get going, we'll certainly see how they run along. But we're not going to miss out. we are certainly going to be getting a very good share of the value on the coins as they go up in both Chingaling and in Next Level Africa, because as people get paid commissions, those commissions can be turned in Wish. And of course, we've got our card set up. So the process would be, if you wanted to cash out, say, you would hit a button in Next Level Africa exchange. You would exchange your coins. I just want to use an example. Let's supposing the Chingaling coins were $20 each, and you had 100 Next Level Africa coins, and I just want to use as a figure. Let's say they're worth $1, and then you could exchange them and finish up with 5 Chingaling. I'm expecting them to be much more than that, but I don't know, start anticipating what the value of the coin's going to be. We can actually control that. We can control the value of the coin, and I'll talk about that later. So I just want to use that as a an example. So then what you would do from that is you would transfer those coins to your Chingaling wallet, your C-wallet, and then from that you would transfer them back to the Chingaling exchange, and then from that you decide whether you want to load them into your card or list them for sale, whichever you want to do. So it's a bit of a process out there. It's probably something that's going to be, once we do it a couple of times, it'll flow fairly easily. But that's the process on getting your cash. If you don't want to be getting cash, you can do whatever you wish with the coins. Because, look, strategies I'll talk about later. I just want to try and just deliver that there now, and then open it up to see what sort of concerns and questions that members might have, and then we can deal with them as we go. But our main product is the crowdfunding platform. I mean, that's where we're all wanting to get focused on. The crypto came along. We've been wrestling around with that. But look, I really feel that we are in a better place than where we were with just dealing with the banks. Certainly I've copped flack from everywhere on things, statements and updates I put out there by the bank. As soon as it goes out, the bank are onto it. Well, they don't do that now, because we're divorced in the way of our coin from the bank. So it is in itself quite unique. So look, I'll open it up there now for any questions, because it's probably, there's a lot to all of this. So rather than me ramble on, it's possibly the questions might be an easier way to go for now. So who's first?
Can I come in there, Noel? It's Gerald.
Yes, Gerald.
Could we? I know we all like videos, but could we have a sort of a graphical representation video of how the process will work as a visual tool?
You're talking about how people exchange their
the process.
Coin.
Yeah.
All of that. Yeah. You remember this. Videos. Every video that we would have made up to this point would have to be redone. It was becoming a nightmare for us coming up with things and finding out the next day or even the same day sometimes that that's wrong. So we had to wait for it to take its course in order for it so we could do it. Now it is. Now it's going to be finalised.
Yeah, that's good.
And as I said, that we will be the only network company out there that has its own coin.
Yep, that's great.
And its own exchange.
Okay, it's just that if we put things in like text and everything else, it's just going to be, look, I'm intelligent. I understand this, and I've got no more questions really after this, because it's fine by me. But there's going to be a lot of people out there going to be completely confused if we do something in text.
Yeah, look, we won't leave it to text, as you're probably well aware that between Jenny and Angelina, they do a fine job on getting information to us.
Okay.
And blow by blow, we're going to be. Jenny's even started that process now.
Okay.
of going through how funds or coins get transferred from your C-wallet to the exchange, and then once our exchange is up and running, then we'll be able to to work it from there on the whole process.
Okay.
And they're looking to try and have our exchange up and running within the next 24 hours. And look, I'm only quoting their times on it. They're anxious to get this going. This is where it's all been slowed up, and as we will finish up with a nice. You see, investors, as we probably know, investors look for activity. And if you look at some of the crypto out there, some of it hasn't been traded in 3+ months.
Yeah, I know.
Well, with ours,
yeah, I've noticed.
We're going to have activity happening 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 a minute. And that activity is what draws the investors to it.
Right.
So we will have we'll be able to work out what we want to sell the coin for on our exchange. Because if an investor comes in there and they purchase the coins, they'll purchase the coins from members who put those coins up for sale. So my thing out there would be, if I had 100 coins, just to use a figure, I may want to transfer 80 of those coins into Jingling to keep a bit of a double up going there, and the other 20 I might list them into the NLA exchange at a price that I feel, if they're listed in our asset account as being worth $1.10, just to put a figure out there, I might list mine at $1.50. Now look, there's every indication that our coins will go to 5, 10, 20 and beyond dollars, but I don't want to hype that up. I've got no idea to tell you when it will happen, but I know it will happen.
Okay. Can I go back? Can you move on to the market? Go on, Jenny.
Okay. I just want to say that because we're starting to get into strategies here, and Gerald had asked about the videos, and I just want to bring something up. You guys can't see it because you're on a Skype call, but I have just pulled up the document that Angelina and I have been working on for over 24 hours, and there is text. Now, you can't see it, but you will when you see the recording. There's a picture on the screen right now of what the Next Level Africa Sea Wallet is going to look like, but you will also see it is, I think there's 6 or 7 steps. The step 1, back up the Sea Wallet. Not only is there text, but for each one of these texts, there is a YouTube video. We've got the first 2 videos made. I started working on the third video, which is one of the steps is to take your Chainlink coins and move them over to GEX, but we ran into a snag. I have to talk to Vayner. A lot of these things like how to download the new Sea Wallet, there's going to be a video. The problem is I have to wait until that Sea Wallet is actually on the site before I can make a video to put it on the how-to. So we're telling everybody, don't do anything until you've seen these steps. But for each one of these steps that we have for people transitioning from Chainlink coin to NLA coin, it's a gray wallet, the new one. Each one of those has text and video. They're not the most professional videos in the world because it's just me sitting here on my laptop and I'm not a video maker, but we do walk people through the steps. So I am now going to close out. I had to let you know that before we got into more strategy that yes, there will be videos.
Okay, thanks, Jenny.
That's it.
No, can I go on to the marketing side?
John?
There's mentioned in that report there that we don't really want to use Next Level Africa Team Link out there anymore. Can you just clarify that?
I think really we're going there with Gerald is that because of the complexity we're doing, we're not sure how easy or difficult we're going to be able to make it. So now what we're doing is we're in this stabilization period. We'll actually launch and then stabilization. Once we get going with it, then we'll be able to decide whether we can do, massive markets, things like that in order to, through the internet. But I think that because a program like we've got, you need to be able to to be able to ride people through it. And probably why I can't answer that fully now is we've got another number of things in place that we're going to be bringing in the marketing. In fact, I spoke to Vayner today about getting the script. And a lot of things will happen after I get, because I don't want Vaynern's programs to go anywhere near it. I don't want them to start on it because it'll go on forever. So I have my team of programmers here in Australia that I've been working with for well over a decade, well, probably 1.5 decades now. They do a lot of work for me, and I just know that if they tell me it's going to be at a particular time, it's that close to it. It's not funny. Certainly not like we've been dealing with this. And I'm not trying to blame anyone out there. It is what it is, but it's certainly not my fault. Many members that this is dragged on, but I really feel out the other end of this with what we're going to be very happy with it. So marketing at the moment, sorry if I'm jumping around, but there's more steps we need to put in place, and one of them is getting hold of the script, because, you know, as I said, we've got a lot of things that we want to look at. I'm in talks with companies now, and some pretty serious players we want to do.
Okay. All right, I'm finished. I'll hand it over.
I can't give you details on it just yet, but I probably, yeah.
Okay, no, thanks.
Go on, sorry.
It's okay.
Okay.
Hi, Noel. It's Maxine. Jenny was saying that the wallet will probably be down. We'll be able to download it tomorrow, correct or not?
Yes, yeah, that's what I was told. Yeah.
Okay, and so if we bring that down tomorrow and we do our bits and pieces, when will the actual sort of launch be? Is next week, or for people coming on to be able to sign
and pay
without any hesitation?
Yeah, look, that should all happen because, you see, once we've got all the money is going to be paid in to the exchange. So it's pretty obvious we can't do anything until the exchange is live, which should be very, very soon now. Because there's no more PayPal, that's all off the board. So they're showing us how we can do it there. Mind you, I'm not 100% happy with how we pay the money in, but I've got other things that we're looking at to get around that. And one of the reasons I can't say too much about it now, I just don't want it to be out there. I want us to come away as smoothly as we possibly can with the script, and then what we're going to add on from there. And remember this, that I'm going to have an advisory team set up where there'll be representatives from the major leader groups, and we have some fairly big groups out there, you know, in the way of Frank Stapleton's group and a few other groups, and we'll have an advisory committee set up. That committee will just be totally focused on the benefit of the community, to make sure that we've got ears all over the place to listen to what the community wants, so that we just don't go off. Even though the point I made in response to Vayner, and I probably bashed him a little bit, and I tried not to, but I just wanted to try and point this message out, is that Next Level Africa has one owner, and that one owner has been in business for 45 years. I was fortunate enough in my supermarket world out there that I became a self-made millionaire at 30 years of age. Now, I've used it for a long time. So nobody can come along to me and buy me out, if you know what I mean, to offer me a sweet deal that's just there for me. So my focus is going to be, and really, the helpers, the leaders, and people that I'm working closely with, if I'm not doing something there that's to benefit the community, point it out to me.
Yep.
So that's the point I was trying to make, is that we won't be sold out, that someone else will have influence over what we do. And so that's
I'm pleased to hear that.
the point I was trying to make.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
Noel, it's Jenny again. I'm popping back in to make another point here, and that is when Maxine brought up about when will this be ready and when will that be ready, and we do expect some of these things to be ready tomorrow, but this is what I want to make really clear to everybody in the rooms, to all the leaders out there that have got to email their groups. Nobody does anything until they get those instructions, because if people start going off, sort of on their own, this is not, I'll admit it, Angelina and I have spent hours and hours and hours, 4:00 in the morning, they're getting these, trying to figure out how this works and what is the most simple way that we can explain this, how they do this to the members. Because as you guys know, we have members that you get on screen share with and they say, what's a cursor? It's, yeah. So we've got members that are not computer literate. So we really don't want anybody saying, I know how to do this, and going off on their own, because as we know, that just causes way more problems. So even though somebody might see, oh, I just logged in, you might see in one of the rooms, I just logged into NLA and there's a download there for the I clicked it. We're telling everybody, don't do anything. Don't do anything. The instructions, unfortunately, cannot be ready until some of the tools are already up there, because for us to do a video, I have to actually do both. So the things might be ready, but the instructions might be ready a few hours later. We're going to do as much as we can tonight to get stuff pre-done. But some of it, we also have to talk to Vaynard and get questions. And sometimes, because of the time zones, we can't get an answer from him. He's gone. So I guess I'm just trying to say, even though some things might be ready, we're still not going to go forward. We're just not going to go forward with it, because it's not the easiest process in these 6 steps. People are going to have to go into their computers and find hidden files. And the thing for those of us that were in doing the whole thing where you have to go in and find the roaming files and they have to type in app data, and the members are going to have to do that. So it's not going to be a simple process. We really want them to follow the instructions when they come, and they will come just as soon as our little hands can get them made. That's it. That's it. That's off my soapbox. I will go away and let you talk about the big stuff now. All I care about is trying to make this as simple as possible for members. And if it means they have to wait another 24 hours to get the instructions, that's what it means. Okay.
Appreciate that, Jenny. I understand that altogether. The other thing I was going to ask was with the cards, the CC cards, with Chingaling, for those that have done the exchange, obviously you've got to get it through the exchange of the Chingaling one. That will still be the same as it is now, or not?
Well, yes. There's only one card.
Okay.
There's only one card.
Yeah,
that will be the card being offered on the Chingaling exchange. Yep. And so,
yep.
Look, it's called the Chingaling exchange, or we call it that, but it's called the global exchange, because they may finish up with other. I think it's just going to be restricted down to just be one crypto on there. That will only be Chingaling. That'll be the only one. And then, so that's how the card's all geared to that. The HSBC is all geared to that.
Yeah.
And that can't happen until we get the exchange live, so that we can then start applying, and people have been qualified. I've actually been qualified today in the exchange, so they've managed to do that, and could put better instructions on there, because I think we're all guilty of loading up utility bills, and we may have loaded them up 3 or 6 or 12 months ago, and we go, because we still live at the same place, we think it's all right, and we send that, but they want something that's 3 months or less out there. So they're all the things that that they should.
It's a matter of waiting.
So what we're trying to do as well, and look, I had a bit of a shot there in the leaders' room about the setup of the Chingaling support systems out there, and so there's a gentleman over in China. His name is Yu, and when he's looking after from the bank. So when Vayner told me about Yu, it took me back to the time I used to run amusement machines, and a person rang me up. I didn't know the machines were put there to put in a service call, and I answered the phone, and they started off with, "Hello, this is you." I said, "Me?" No, it's you. Okay, so that's the first time I was introduced to a Chinese name of Yu. So when Vayner told me he was going over to China and his contact over there was Yu, I started off with his room out there by who's running room 1? No, you. Yes. Okay. Well, who's running 2? Yes. I went into a who's on first, what's on second routine, because I noticed Jenny pulled out of that room because it's going to be a mess. There's absolutely no idea about support. Yeah, and if Vayner's got anything to do with it, I know that I love him dearly, but support's not part of why I love him. And so it's going to be a mess, and any one of us that are in that room, it's just going to finish up in a bit of a mess. And the arm wrestle between whether it's a Chingaling problem or an NLA problem, there's that fine line out there. But anything that we've got no access to in the way of changing the addresses that have been put in there, that can't be an NLA problem. It's got to be Chingaling, because we can't do it. So we're telling members to go straight out there. Anyway, but that's where they're going with it. So we'll look at doing a better support system as we get going. The new wallets, they tell me that when we download them, I have downloaded mine. I haven't activated yet because you can't run the 2 wallets. Got the reason there's a bit of confusion. We've got the wallet from the original Chingaling with 100 million coins in there. That's our wallet. But the upgrade on the wallet to stop all these error run times and things like that has all been eliminated. That's what they tell me on there. But the reason I can't run 2 wallets the same is because they're both the same. So the moment I can delete my original Chingaling wallet and download the new one, I'll be able to run the 2 wallets on my desktop, because they're 2 different wallets. So that's where it will be. And as I said, look, with our coin, we'll be listed in the Blockchain Explorer. You'll see the activity, the transactions going on there. We will probably outstrip Chingaling with transactions. We'll have more transactions going on because the entire NLA database are going to be doing it. They have reservations on how they're going to bring vendors into their system. They'll probably look at bringing bigger ones, but I believe we can bring volume to our system, and volume is near as good as value, because it creates value after you get volume. You need volume first before you get value. So there's a lot of tricky things going on, and will come out. All right.
Like I'm trying to say is that with all the activity, it's Pat here, that we're going to generate a lot more initial activity with the NLA coin, which will help drive the value and the price of it up versus the Chingaling. I don't see that they're going to have that much activity without us. I mean, we're the main source of their activity.
Well, the whole thing. Remember this, that people might look at Vayner has made is now, got the banks and they're a Chingaling, but it's lost because they've lost the volume from Chingaling by separating it and giving NLA their own coin. That volume will never be associated to Chingaling. It's be associated to NLA. That's the difference on it.
No, can I ask you about that? Get you on here.
Sure.
Hi. There's a couple of things here. I wondered, but is it true then that we have NLA coins and the only way to change them into something simple money is to go via Chingling? Is that true?
In the NLA exchange, you'll have, I'll call it a button, but we'll get the video to get all the correct things, but a button there that you're able to exchange your NLA coins for Chingling from that exchange.
Sure, now that's what I meant, but it is the only way, as in you do need to go through the Chingling exchange to make an NLA coin transfer into dollars, so to speak.
Well, once you transfer your NLA coins and they become Chingling, you then transfer those coins back to your C wallet, your Chingling C wallet. That's number one.
Yes, I understand.
And then from that point, you may or may not want to keep them in that wallet. So that's up to the individual. All right.
Absolutely, but there's no way, for instance, where NLA coins could be transferred into dollars directly. It is always connected to the Chingling.
Well, that's who's it's the banks looking after it. It's either that or they've got to set up a separate KYC, so the whole thing would run independent. But the card that's where the card is in there. So if anybody wants to load their card, you can sell your NLA coins in the NLA exchange. But the moment you want to start cashing out, as it were, you would then have to convert them over to Chingling. Look, Jan, anyone that's been involved in crypto know this already. If you have a cryptocurrency, when you sell it on the exchange, it's exchanged for Bitcoin. You then have to sell the Bitcoin.
That's right.
No one pays you straight out for crypto. It's all related to the Bitcoin. So you've got to go through that double process no matter where you are. Well, in this case, if you want, the Chingling has become our Bitcoin. And when they do change over to Chingling or Bitcoin in order to cash out. So that's a normal process with everyone that trades in cryptocurrency.
That's great. That's excellent. That's totally clear now for me. And the other thing I was wondering, there was a time where we had an opportunity. Now that we know that the NLA coin, and I'm just throwing it out there, going to get a lower value, put it this way, initially, at least. We don't know how much. This is all speculation, and I also don't know what happens with growth, and nobody can tell us that. But we thought we got a to buy extra in. Is that possible? Given this change that just happened, it's quite a major change, in fairness, I think, for most people. Do you think there's a possibility, or even a way to organize it, to have another opportunity to get more Chingling?
I'd love to be able to see, okay, what you're dealing with, you're dealing with the banks. Now, I don't know how it is in your part of the world, but over here in Australia, we're a baby nation with about 22 million people, all right? Our four major banks over here, we've got more than four, but our four major banks collectively showed a profit of $24 billion for last financial year. The banks look after the banks. And you see, this is what the argument was all the way through, that the more coins that are being sold for $1 brings the value of the Chingling coin back. That's what the whole thing was all about, separating us from it, because the sale that we make in Next Level Africa, it's related to the value on the coin. So if we're selling in Next Level Africa $1 for a coin, then that's what the last sale on the coin is. So our asset account we've got to look at how we can increase that. Look, I've got a couple of strategies out there that I'm going to run by the members and make sure that they you know, they're okay and they're obviously legal. I can't see any way they're not. Strategies how we can collectively force our coin up. It's an easy process. You know, you see what actually happens out there, and it's called a dump. And what might happen is that supposing we all agree that our coin's worth $1.50. I'm just using easy figures, $1.50 and so on. Let's supposing someone just goes out and dumps the coins out there for $1.10. No, just I'll get rid of them. I've got a whole bunch of coins. I'll let them go for $1.10. That's why we're not selling coins out there. We don't want people to buy the coins and then do a dump on the market. We're selling coins in relation to the product. Now, investors coming in, investors will be able to buy the coins, buy NLA coins, but they'll buy them off their exchange, being sold by members. So members have got the coins sitting there for $1.50, and look, there's every indication our coins will start to see $2, $3, $4, and $5 and $10 fairly quickly. You know, I mean, I don't want to put a figure out there, but you know, we're not going to sit there and not increase.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. Listen, I just want to say, it's just thanks for your positive attitude, because there's always a shiny silver lining about everything. Initially, I get the shock, like many people do, like, oh God, here's another massive change. And but yeah, for what it's worth, our whole thing is still standing strong, and let's look ahead.
It is. Look, Jen, I've had time to absorb what's been delivered to me, and all I can say is that I believe we've got a better deal on now than what we had with the banks, because the banks were forever. At some point, we were going to reach a stage where we had to conform with what the banks and what the charge and, you know, what price we'd have to pay for a coin. In NLA, we've got a bit more control on that.
Yeah, I understand. That's right.
And this exchange, has been set up especially for NLA. It's our own exchange, and you know, as I said, there's no other MLM companies that have got that. We are still on a benchmark out there in the MLM world, and I believe we've got a possibility to even be in that same category with the cryptocurrency.
Good stuff.
I agree with Jan, what he just, with the major changes you go, well, I just think it's now before we've even launched, because there's nothing worse when you get going, and I've been involved with other ones when they do major changes afterwards and they do a lot of damage, whereas this way it's all done before, and actually I like it better, because I was going for anyway. So I think this, and thanks for your strong arm.
Thank you.
Good stuff. Thanks. No, that's great.
Right, but look, we'll try and get a few more answers out there, but basically, the banks will want to move fairly quickly on this, because that's what it's been all about, getting our wallet sorted out, getting our exchange fixed up. So we've all got that all going now. So the banks will want to be quick about this. So as soon as everything starts to go live, I think between Jenny and Angelina, they probably need to get themselves their own set of roller skates, not share a pair. And so because they'll be certainly out there doing what they do best, and that's looking after us. I think I just like to take the time now to, you know, express my gratitude on behalf of myself and many members on the job that Jenny and Angelina are doing for us. Thank you.
Yeah, can I just pop in there very quickly? I know my room is waiting for some kind of update. Is there something I can say, like we're going to be up and running in 2 weeks' time? Something we can put in there just to keep the rest there?
Look, once again, you know where we've all been over 12 months out there.
Yeah.
Gerald, I would definitely like to be the one to say, my gut feeling is we are going to be ready to go next week. So whether we actually go in case there's any other things that have cropped up, because the challenge we have on with this is not so much the actual system itself, it is the members, and I say that with respect, because we've got people doing all sorts of funny things out there, and so that's where the argument's been on me saying to them, well, I need to test out, because where it is, there's a balance to be paid, which I don't mind paying, but the balance was there when we have the script 100% error-free. And my argument is, it's not working. How can I tell? Because we have got a couple of little niggles out there, which I feel will be fixed quite easily, but nevertheless, they're there. And so until we're actually running, I don't know if we're error-free or not. So look, if you ask me my gut feeling, I'm telling you that we'll be ready to go next week. Whether we actually go next week, that's another story, but we'll be very, very close. We all want to go. We all want to get on with this and get it behind us. As you know, working in with Vane there, and Patrick and I for 9-10 yes, you'll be right to go next week for 9 months. So it's really a hard one.
Okay, I got.
Yeah.
Carry on, Patrick.
Tomorrow. Sometimes we've had. Look, we're right to go in 1 minute. We had all that as well. You know. When Vayman started doing this, the crypto out there to get it going for us, he told me 5 months ago you'd have it ready in 7 days. 7 days.
That's a true story. I could back it up because I was on the call when that happened, so that's extremely true.
Yeah.
100%. Noel, can I make another point? Can I say, it's Jenny again. Okay, for the helpers room, I am going to drop in a link to the how-to documents that Angelina and I have been working on. We don't want it shared with anybody, not one person outside the helpers room, but we want you to get a bit of a heads up on the process that people will be going through. Videos, well, there's 2 videos where I'm going to get the other one done hopefully tonight. I have some stuff I have to go out and do for a couple hours, and then I'll be back, and I should make another video tonight. And so it's still a work in progress, but the text part is there. It's just the videos need to be added, and then any changes that come up between now and 24 hours from now that Maynard brings up. But I will put it in the rooms, but I just don't want anybody sharing it, okay? But I want you guys to get a bit of a heads up on the 6 steps. I mean, it starts with back up your wallet. That's how it starts. And there's a video on how to back up the wallet. And then it's got, I forget the next step, but upload your KYC if you haven't already done that. And then they have to, it's very short steps. I think there's 6 of them. They have to take their coins from their brown Chingaling wallet and move it into the GEX. Then they're going to, I forget the exact order, but then they're going to be downloading their gray wallet. And then they have to go in and delete their brown wallet. So each of these are different steps, and each will have their own video. They're going to get rid of their old brown wallet, and then they're going to get a new brown wallet. So they're going to have a new brown wallet, a new gray wallet. So
okay, Jenny, while you're here, Jenny, the crowdfunding project side of it, when are we going to start the committee on that?
As far as the approvals?
Yeah.
You mean about the approvals?
Yeah.
No, that'll come after.
Yeah,
right?
look, I think that this is just step by step on it there,
Okay.
Gerald, but I think probably there's the stabilisation on the site. That's probably our main focus, to make sure that we've got everything stabilised there.
That's fine.
And then our focus is going on the crowdfunding aspect of it and getting all of that in place out there. And as I keep saying, and I'm not trying to beat up on Vayman, but I haven't been too interested in them doing too much on there because I know it's a time process. I didn't want to slow up the launch because in launch we can, we're not marketing out to people. We can handle if something is not, written correctly, it doesn't quite make sense. We all know that. So once we get that and we're working on that part, there's a lot to be changed on the .com side as well, the affiliate side. But as I said, I'm reluctant to talk to Vane about anything to do with that because of the time delay. I'm trying to put all their energy into getting it launched. I think their energy's been in the last probably at least 4 months anyway is really to do with Jingling and not a lot going on with Africa.
Okay, all right. Okay, I know this might be a bit me being sticky, but could I put plus 14 minus days to blast off?
Plus or minus?
Yeah.
Well, as I said there, Joe, according to once the wallet and the exchange is open there is no reason we can't launch at that point.
Okay.
If you see the exchange open on Friday,
yeah,
it's really just a matter then of us getting together and saying, right, let's look at what we've got. How can we do it? Because we're ready to go then.
Okay.
As soon as the exchange is live, we're ready to go.
Okay. All right. On mute.
But this is Jenny. Don't do anything until you get the instructions. Thank you.
Yes, boss.
We want to make sure that we get, we just want to make sure that we're all on the same page with where we need to be, but really saying that we're ready to launch when the exchange goes live, and they'll give us a certain time factor on doing some things that we need to do. We'll bring them up later on when the exchange is live, pointing it out. They'll probably give us, if I said 24, 48 hours in order to complete that, and then after that point should be the weekend Monday. All of that should be completed. So once that is completed, then as I said, from that point, it's just a matter of discussing amongst ourselves when we're ready to go with it.
Okay, if I can interject here. I have been at work all day and I haven't been able to read the press releases yet. And in fact, I got home from work right as this call started. So I understand now that there are 2 coins. There's a Next Level Africa coin and a Chingaling coin, which will always sit there. Now, does that mean the current coins that we possess now are being converted into Next Level Africa coins, or are Next Level Africa coins, or are they still Chingaling?
Yeah, look, the stuff, the banks are going through all of that out there, Kevin, but from what I can gather, the coins that are in your C wallet, there's no problem with that. The coins that are in Next Level Africa will be Next Level Africa coins. So we're just going over some fine points with it. So coins that you have in your C wallet, chances are, I mean, look, I've been in an arm wrestle with Vayner about all of that. He then brings the banks in as the bank's calls. So we really are in the hands of the bank on what they're doing with it out here. Nevertheless, that coins that have been bought through the PayPal process and things like that, they're going to honour those, because their argument was that the coins were bought to upgrade. That's what they should be doing. So I don't agree with all that's been dished out there, but if I get into a dispute involved with it, not only does it slow it up, but we might lose what we've got there anyway, because the bank's not going to let us use the Chingaling coin in a network marketing structure. We were never told that, but that's what it is now. So
that brings me to another question. First, based on what you said, all signs point to the likelihood that the coins that we have C wallets are still Chingalings and will always be Chingalings and not changed.
Yep.
Let's see. How do I want to word this? Give me a moment. I'm totally sorry. I'm kind of blanking on exactly what I want to word.
I tend to look. one of the things out there, because I'm dealing with this ongoing, things might change even while we're on this call. So I'm not wanting to say 100% of what I think out there at the moment until I get 100% of once the exchange is up and the process happens out there, what we can do, then I can really let you know where it's at. But look, we might want to look at it initially as something different. Out there we might want to look as we've been shortchanged, but I think that's we were discussing earlier on there with things. I think I was talking with Jenny about this, that people, how excited we got when the coins we were told that we're going to go to $1.47, from originally starting, because when we first started out there, we were under the impression that our coins, they were $1 in Next Level Africa, but they could be 5 cents in an exchange. So that's where it started. And then, of course, the next thing you know, you had banks coming along. Initially, they came along with $100 million they were throwing at it. Then it was $2 billion, then $10 billion, and then $17 billion. That went up to $100 billion. That went from there to $170 billion, and so it just figures that not one of us here can actually comprehend. I wouldn't even know to write that figure down, I don't think.
So, okay, that probably precisely words now what I wanted to ask last was, and you may have already answered it, but I just want to get 100% clarification. What type of information should I be looking for to let me know the answer to my original question, whether those coins are Chingaling or if they're being converted to Next Level Africa coins?
Well,
from what you said, it'll be the exchange going one.
Well, the banks are looking at, that's what we've been told. The banks are looking at things out there. So until the banks come back with their final assessment on it, it's really hard to say. So we're going to be releasing things out there as we get the information. And so the last I spoke, the banks were the ones going through this process, and they will let us know. But I would say that there's every chance out there that the coins in your C wallet will be able to be just simply coins. So we'll have to go through that bit by bit out there, because look. When you get to a stage where things were changing so much, there's a bit of he said, she said. And we were given the opportunity to buy extra coins. And now they're talking about we should have only bought coins to upgrade. So, that in itself is not how we were originally told. We were told we were going to have, an opportunity to buy the coins before it was announced. Remember that one? So we were getting all that set up so that people could go in and put their orders in for 10,000, 20,000, 100,000, whatever coins. And the next thing you know, they're telling us, no, it's only the coins for upgrading that should be looked at. So look, as soon as this is finalised and the bank is looking after Chingaling and we're looking after NLA, the better all of us are going to like that, because we'll know where we're going.
I understand where you're coming from.
Okay, how are we going now for questions?
Any other questions?
You got any spare cash, Noel?
Is it Tom, was it?
Yeah, I got a question. Are we going to come up with a fancy name for our NLA coin, or are we just going to leave it NLA coin?
Well, look, that's where it is. They've set that up out there with the Tom. So, look, I've got quite a few things in mind, and a couple of people in here are privy to what's coming, and we're just trying to analyse it out there. So we are just out to try and protect the entire community, and as we possibly can. so everything will be looked at out there with it. So look, in view of the fact that the coin has been developed especially for NLA, it's probably not a bad name to have on the coin.
Correct.
You know, so they've because we've started the marketing thing out there with our e-commerce out there. It'll be the Next Level Africa e-commerce site, and then of course having that coin as the currency within that community. It's probably going to be a recognisable thing.
Hey, no,
Did I understand that right? Oh, did I understand that right? Earlier, we were going to be using these coins. Other MLM companies would come in driving the.
Yes.
Okay.
And they won't be buying the coins. We'll add it through Next Level Africa. The only place they'll buy the coins is on the exchange.
Okay.
Sounds wonderful.
Yeah. So we should be in a position where we push coins up. Oh. Yeah. All right. Okay. Sorry. What was that?
In terms of the coin, would it be better to be able to brand the coin more generically as opposed to specific NLA so that we could use it through multiplicity of platforms?
Once again, that's what was delivered to me. All right. The artwork and things. We will be able to have a talk about that a little bit closer there, Patrick, because we will go on discussions with that. So I've got some things to talk to you about later on that. So anyway, what we're all seeing out there has been just delivered to me as well. If I go out there and start talking about a different branding on the coin, and that takes longer again, the whole issue of us wanting to launch is just, you know, consistently being put back further. So I'm just going to think, well, okay, yeah, let's just do it. Call it, you know, whatever. Just that wouldn't have been the name I would have put on it if it was left with me. But that's the name that they put on it to build it. So if I go in now, it's just going to delay where we want to be.
How long has this coin been in development?
The Chingaling?
No, the NLA coin. And how similar is it to Chingaling in its
Exactly the same. It's a cryptocurrency. They're all the same. It's a proof of stake. It's not mined. All of that. All the normal. You see, on our exchange there with the Tom, you'll see our asset account. How much money is in our asset account, the value of the coin, the last trade. It'll all be just a normal exchange. Showing our asset and showing the asset account growing.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I've got nothing else to say now. I'm happy. Just look forward to the launch.
Yeah, look, I think we can all probably relate to that. We just want to get going with it, you know, and once we're going out there. But we are clean and clear of the banks with their big brother because they want to protect what they're doing at the NLA Chingaling. And as I said, we've still got, I don't want to call it insider trading, but we've got a little bit of information. Not too many people know that there's 170 billion going into their asset account. Well, anybody that wants to invest now and start purchasing, and they'll go up gradually. They just won't. The Chingaling won't just be you wake up one morning and they're $150. They'll just go up gradually.
Yeah.
So as you are earning coins from Next Level Africa, it's probably in your interest to change them over.
Yeah. So the Chingalings we've got in our wallets now, then we could say that's our little kickoff start to earn some money and put through an exchange and change for dollars.
Well, yes. Look, Well, and once again, out there with it, there's a few things that I'm just trying to iron out to get going there. We've just got a couple of things that are probably happening. And look, I've got people that are talking to me now about wanting to just in there into the e-commerce site. So that's going to be we're going to have that a percentage of the trading in the e-commerce site goes into the asset account as well.
Excellent. Okay.
So if we build up a large, e-commerce platform, that in itself can generate some pretty serious dollars out there. And look, because we are approaching this in a team type of thing out there, I've been introduced to a few things. Some of them I don't bother with, and some of them I do, where I feel the community will benefit from it. And there's something going on at the moment that I want to get a bit more information on it before we go out anywhere. But when we list that out there, I just feel there's going to be a lot of very, very excited and happy people in what we're about to launch out there with to add into the community and to add into what we're already doing in there. It's not something that we have to really go out of our way. It's something that we're doing and will need to do. And I can't say any more about it, otherwise I've got to kill everyone on the call.
So we can't mention anything about the casino ideas and all that then? Is that what you're finally talking about?
Oh yeah, they're all okay. Yeah, we've got no. They're the casino ideas are all happening out there now.
Oh,
we're also in talks with people that want to run online poker tournaments and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they will warm to using our coin.
Excellent.
Out there because the poker tournament and the casinos, we can put them into our e-commerce as a vendor as well.
So that'll
whereas the banks can't do that.
So that'll grow the asset account then.
Oh yeah.
So
you see, when we were talking to the company looking at doing the online poker, one of the things that they were trying to do, and they had a major sponsor, and the first prize was $20 million that they're offering, but they're trying to break the world record for the most amount of people playing poker in any one tournament. And the current record, I believe, was 240,000. Patrick might know a bit more about this than I do. He covers a bit of that. But the current record is 240,000. And that was created by people paid $1 to go into the tournament, and the first prize was $25,000 or something. Well, this one that they're running, there's no entry fee into the tournament, and the first prize is $20 million. They're expecting 10 million people to go into the thing. Now, because of what's going on there with the community that they're running, it's a fundraising community for actually retired footballers in the American football.
All right.
In the so they've got these people that have millions and millions of people following them on Facebook and things like that they're going to be running some of the rooms, and they've offered me that we can advertise our crowdfunding platforms within these rooms. If we can get them using our coin, they would in themselves purchase 100 million coins.
Right.
Easily.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So we've got some opportunities going there that we are going to be a force in the crypto world.
Fantastic, Noel. And it's what you said was all along, well, Jingling miss out, but we're still going with Jingling anyway. So
we've got the best of both worlds in this, Maxine.
Absolutely.
We have, and we'll all be watching each other's back to make sure that we're with it, because we're not the banks. We're not out there to mislead our community. We want the community to prosper. So we will just put the best possible information out there. And, I don't think anyone in this room could honestly believe banks are out there to help the industry.
I agree with that one.
There's some class action going on at the moment worldwide on our banks, and One of them over here is a class action against the banks on the fee, banks against the fees. They can't. They're permanent. So they can't justify, the charges they put on. So the class action anyway. But look, that's ongoing. But we'll simply, I think just be totally better off once it unfolds.
Well, for me, I'm absolutely wrapped, and I'm glad that it's a one owner and whole community. So the members and everybody else that comes in, it's fantastic, and it's worth the wait, Noel, even though it's been very, very frustrating. So I'm looking forward for the go. And Jenny, I'm also looking for the steps. Me too.
Yeah.
They're coming. I'm going to put the link in the room, and they'll be coming. And I think when we heard this, it was like literally less than 48 hours ago. And we immediately went, okay, well, this isn't what we expected, but let's see what we can do. And do you know what? I am now feeling like this could have been a bit of a lucky break. In fact, it is a lucky break for us. It's kind of, it almost just feels like, okay, we spent a few months spinning our wheels, but we're back on track. Is how it feels to me right now.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. And I think, Noel, we should probably do a few calls with some of the big leaders and their teams.
Yes.
Because this is complicated. And anyway, folks, I got to go. I've got an appointment I have to be at shortly. And I'm recording this, so if I go, there's no more recording. So is there any other questions before we get going here?
I've been recording as well, so just in case something happened. But I'm finished. I've got no more questions.
Okay. That's great. Did you record the whole thing, Gerald, with is there video on there too?
It'll be video, yeah, the whole thing.
Do you want to put it up in your...
Yeah, I'll stick it up.
Okay.
I'll stick it up on YouTube.
I'm a little bit about putting this up on YouTube right now.
No, well, I'll stick it up on YouTube.
I don't want to put it up on YouTube right now.
No, we can put it up on YouTube, but make it private and use the email address only.
Yeah, just use we put it up as a private. Nobody can see it who doesn't have access, Jenny.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it shows what I know.
Yeah.
Link out? Yeah, they can't. Even if somebody would send the link out, they can't see it.
No, they can't. No, they can't do that. No, we'll just use the email addresses like we did the last one.
So you want everyone to put email addresses into the helpers room.
Yeah, do that, and I'll just put it on
and
YouTube.
And then only those email addresses.
Yeah, and they'll go to your link and all that, and only you can see it.
Okay,
Nobody else.
That sounds great. Sure.
Okay. Right,
Okay.
Are we done?
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, sounds like we're done.
Thank you so much, Noel. Thanks, Noel.
And thanks everybody. And as I said, I'm sure that we look after each other, and that the system will look after us. It's as simple as that. All right.
Okay, brilliant. I'm gonna stop the video now.
Okay, bye everyone.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye. Thank you, Noel. Thank you, Jenny.